Straub Bros Sports Show. Sundays, Mondays, we live for the fight. Hey, college game day and Thursday night. Hey, rivals fall and the banter flies. We bleed our teams till the day we die. S-T-R-A-U-E, two loud mouths and a love for the league. From Cleveland roots to the world we go. This is the Straub Bros Sports Show.
What's going on, everybody? Another episode of the Straub Bros Sports Show. Big Bro Ken, rocking with you with Little Bro Drew. As always, the comments coming in hot and fresh off the top, Drew. So first and foremost, how you doing, little bro?
I don't think I have been this excited for a Straub Bros Sports Show episode in probably a year, because that's the last time we did this. And so lock in, strap in, get ready, because this is going to be fantastic.
Absolutely. I couldn't have said it better myself. Last week was your baby with the soccer preview show, but this one is both of our babies. This is your official Straub Bros Sports Show college football preview. First things first, Mama, we love you. Mama is in the comments. Flamingo, shout out to you, brother. Nate Teeter, Cuzzo's in the building. God, we got to update your picture. And co-owner of the Falls Rapids and owner and operator Falls Collective, Anna, in the building. We appreciate you, Anna. So yes, welcome everybody to the Straub Bros Sports Show. Like I said, it is our official college football preview. But before we get to the college football preview, because we're going to have plenty of that to talk about. We're going to talk about your top teams. We're going to talk about your sleepers. We're going to talk about your underdogs. Drew has a brand new segment to debut in terms of his own college football thing. And then, of course, Ken's college football bowl predictions. But to start off the show, Drew, I would like to give you and the rest of Cleveland the platform. You do not have anywhere near as long as you did and you had for Shedeur Sanders, but your thoughts on your Dillon Gabriel week 2 preseason game quickly.
I think similar to last week, beat my expectations. Did better, 143 yards, did have that pick six, kind of just threw it in between two guys, but all around, not a terrible performance. I think if we're talking being like clinical, I think Shedeur has him beat in the performance. But I think he also went up against a better defense this week, in the depth that Philly has. And so obviously you saw the report today that Flacco's the 1. Gabriel will most likely be the 2, and then Shedeur will, while being the 3, will start the last preseason game, most likely. Everything's ready to change. And so I think it's not a bad thing that they're 2 and 3. They can obviously flip-flop depending on how the season goes. But I think, like I talked about last week, Flacco being the 1 and letting it just ride until that doesn't work anymore, I think that's the best case scenario for these guys.
Absolutely. Before I give my opinion, first of all, shout out to Morgan, our guy there, our Air Force veteran, and our tight end at the Rapids. Your voices of football, absolutely ready. Running back Evan Calhoun in the building too. He's I don't want to say he's trash, but Bobby Rhodes Jr. as well. Special teams player of the year voting about to start happening for the Rapids too. Bobby Rhodes Jr., my guy there. And of course, Mom's switching back and forth between the YouTube and the Facebook page. She's giving us all the views. So I wish we had a media team. I wish we had somebody who could clip stuff, which wasn't me and you, who both work full-time jobs. I also coach baseball and soccer. All throughout last year, and especially when we got to the end of the year, when we started talking about these guys as prospects in the NFL, one of the things I told you about Dillon Gabriel was he was going to throw you some touchdowns, but he was going to throw the ball to the other team. Like that, and I'm not saying it in a negative way, but if you want to know what it's going to look like with Dillon Gabriel as your quarterback, it's that right there. He's going to throw touchdowns. He's going to give the ball to the other team. He did it at Oklahoma. He did it at Oregon. It's what he's going to do. But that's, All right. So That's all I got. I guess the Cowboys have played preseason games. I don't know. I don't care. This is why we are
Sign your
different.
linebacker.
Right, sure, right. Oh, I don't want to talk about that. Okay, that will derail this entire.
That will be a 30-minute segment.
Jerry, just get it done. Like, we're gonna pay him. We're not trading him. We're gonna pay him. But I don't even know if the Cowboys have played preseason games. I don't care. Call me a bad fan. There's things I care about and there's things I don't. So I'll be ready for week 1. And I know the 28 guys and the 30 guys that I need on my squad. So I don't really dwell too much into it. And I don't want to dwell too much into this, but I do like this. It's not a bad.
Honestly, if New Orleans comes knocking, I wouldn't be mad at New Orleans giving them to New Orleans, because
I don't think
going to have teams at the end of preseason that need guys.
No, I agree, but I don't think New Orleans is going to ask for Dillon Gabriel. I think New Orleans is going to ask for the other guy. But we'll see. Although they're tanking for Arch, so Arch can go back home.
Pickett. Give him Pickett, just a stopgap. You know what I mean?
Don't nobody want that dude. Don't nobody want that dude. They want Arch so they can bring the whole Manning tradition back in a full circle. Before we lose all the people. All right, Drew, quickly. I know I wanted to exclude this part from the show. You weren't going to allow me, but quickly through some EPL results from the weekend.
Yeah,
I'm not just ducking this because my team lost.
I know. I had to throw some shade at you in our chat throughout the week. But no, listen, opening week of the Prem, I wanted to just get some results in there. We're obviously not going to look at the table. No one cares about the table right now. But we had some really fun games this weekend, just to throw them up there. First game of the year, an absolute barn burner, 4-2 Liverpool over Bournemouth. Liverpool go up 2-0 early. Bournemouth comes storming back in the second half to tie it 2-2, and then 2 late goals by Liverpool seal the deal. An absolute amazing game to watch for a neutral. And you know what? You see Bournemouth have to fight, but you also see why Liverpool are the champions. And I think that was an amazing, amazing game to start off the year.
Shout out to the Falls Rapids official page, and with us, we are the broadcasters for the Falls Rapids. Oh, I can break some news. I did see the PAFL's official announcement that we're in for next year, which means you guys know what that means. But continue.
Yes, and so some other results I think are more surprising. Sunderland and Leeds, 2 teams that just got brought up in the Prem. Leeds, obviously, with a very, very good defensive win over Everton. Actually, great professional performance, I should say. And Sunderland putting the hammer to the hammers at West Ham, 3-0, just taking them out. An amazing result for both teams when we saw last year that the teams in the Prem that came up started off terrible and had to fight and claw to even be close, and obviously got relegated. Great results for a first week.
2 things. I'll address this one first. Listen, the sweat started before the broadcast started. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. We just continuing the maintenance. Okay. To make sure it's all good. And secondly, I told everyone, if you were a neutral or wanted to check it out, to go watch that Sunderland game. I told you. Amazing. And then lastly, certainly but not leastly, I dropped points to Arsenal. I don't really care. We looked good. We moved the ball. We had chances. It is what it is. I'm not worried about dropping points to a team that is in running for the top and for the title and for Champions League when I'm just trying to rebuild.
No, I think you're absolutely right. And I think you have a lot to look forward to this season, a lot more than I think last year. And I think for me, listen, this is a team that has now beaten Liverpool twice, is always heavy against top teams, and if I'm being honest, bullied the crap out of us in the first 60 minutes of the game until Liam Delap came on. Am I worried? No. But then we're going to look at just a quick preview into this week. If we drop points this week, then I will start to be nervous about this team, but I think we're going to be okay. Just a quick look here. Obviously, our teams, I play West Ham on tomorrow. You play Fulham on the weekend, and then 2 massive games to start match week 2. You have Manchester City versus Tottenham at 7:30 a.m. on Saturday, so get up early for that one. And then your Sunday 12:30 fixture to end the Sunday lineup, Newcastle versus Liverpool. Liverpool, obviously the favorite there, as Newcastle starting off slow. But listen, this Newcastle team at any moment could put up a good performance and steal some points. So definitely one to watch one there.
Storylines, Liverpool trying to steal Newcastle striker away from them. So that's funny that they do play each other. Also, I can't skip over this. We were not doing a show during the summer when the football community and the football world lost Diogo Jota and his brother, unfortunately, in a car crash. He played for Wolves and for Liverpool. There was just an absolute outstanding tribute done. The Liverpool fans were obviously very emotional. He was on their team, but what Wolves did this weekend, if you go back and look, it was outstanding. The family was in attendance. It was just a great moment there as football came together to give their paying respects to Diogo and his brother Andre Silva.
No, absolutely. And if we had a Straub Bro of the week, that would be all of that in there
100%.
because it was absolutely amazing.
Absolutely. I'll find some photos of that and we will bring those back. Okay, Straub, that's it. All of the other news is out of the way. We're done.
That is the quickest time we have finished 2 segments, I think, ever.
Absolutely. And I don't even care. It is now time officially for your Straub Bros Sports Show college football preview. And Drew, I'm going to let you drive because I'm all out of order. I have no idea what order you're in. So you run the show and I'll fill in the rest.
Absolutely. And I think we're going to start small, and I think we're going to grow into the real heavy hitters as this goes on. And so we're going to start off small, as we can see in this slide here. Listen, one of them gets in now every single time in the college football playoffs. So we got to talk about all of these potential teams that could get in. And listen, as someone who went to a group of 5 college until they moved, near and dear to my heart. So we're going to talk about these guys here. Some quick ones, because I know Ken has some opinions on some of the other ones. Some quick ones in the group of 5. Obviously at the top, Army and Navy. Both teams, big returning players that have big stat lines. They both have pretty easy schedules. Both only have one currently ranked team on their schedule. Obviously, Navy being Notre Dame as always. Army being Kansas State. And so, listen, the only thing that these two teams have to do better than they did last year to potentially get in is not stumble at the end. Both teams started 6-0 to start the season, and then Navy ended 3-3, Army ended 4-2. If they can get that together and get that ship righted at the end of the season, absolutely in play there for that there. Ken, do you have any thoughts on Army Navy?
I mean, these two teams they're gonna be the same thing. They're gonna grind out wins. They're gonna look really, really good because the schedules aren't always great. And then they're gonna get tested by some real teams, and the fact that their offenses are limited and their skill positions only go so deep. They're gonna stumble. I mean, I love me some Army. I love me some Navy. I'll never want to get rid of the Navy game ever. You can never convince me that there's a reason to get rid of it. Sorry about that. But yeah, I mean, I would say Navy probably has a better opportunity than Army does, but I mean, 3 losses in the group of 5 as it's predicted, it's not going to get you in, but we'll see. You know, you never know.
No, you're absolutely. And honestly, both teams now being in the American, it's a little harder than it's easier and harder in terms of that, because when they were independent, obviously they had harder games, but in this sense now you have a clear path. You have a clear path to getting into the CFP. Just you got to run your gauntlet. And so that's the mentality there. Speaking of the American, the third team on the list, Tulane. Now listen, Tulane 9-5 last year. Obviously, they're predicted 8-4 this year, but this is an established group of 5 team now in the American. They are 32-10 the last 3 years, and they have big games against Northwestern, Duke, and Ole Miss in the beginning. But you can scrape away with 1 win there, maybe even get 2. And you clean house in the American like you've been doing the past couple years, you are absolutely right there. The only issue is that even with just 2 weeks to go, they still have a quarterback battle because of their quarterback transferring to Duke. So not a good sign, but if they can get that right, they can lean on their running game. That is the team to look at because they've done this before. They know how to win games in the American. They can get through that rough early schedule. I like the odds for them.
All right, pull over. I'm driving.
Take it away.
Because next on that list is one of my favorite teams. This isn't all about the big dogs this year. My San Jose State Aztecs. Okay, now listen to me. Hear me out here. Okay, I told everyone last year that this was a team to start watching. Okay, well, former Navy coach, funny that we were just talking about Navy, Ken Niumatalolo, got it. I'm all locked in this year. Okay, is now in year 2. Leading passer Walker, a Jet, rusher Floyd Chalk the fourth are back. We've got wide receiver transfers coming into San Jose State from Cal and Purdue. Okay, that's big because they're 117th in the transfer portal and 120th in recruiting. San Jose State is not the easiest place to recruit to, but Coach Niumatalolo has gotten rid of the Navy offense and he's spreading it out and he's moving it. Week 2 is Texas. Okay, so pray for them. Ooh. But they're going to travel. You know, they're going to get on the plane and they're going to show up and they're going to play. No, I like this San Jose State team to kind of make some noise this year. I'm not talking college football playoffs. I'm talking, oh, wait, we got to play them this week? That's not an easy game. I think they're going to be up towards the top of the American standings. I think they're going to be okay. The real reason they're here is I really, really think they're going to be a hot team when we start bringing back Big Bros, Big Bets. So look out for San Jose State. Things didn't work out last year, but we're very high on them. So check in with me. That's why they're here for me. Check in with me there. A team that you were high on last year and you're still high on this year, Boise State Broncos.
No, absolutely. Listen, even with Ashton Johnson departing, I think everyone is ruling them out at this point because they don't have that electric team. Listen, this Boise State team, other than Jaunty, is basically the same team as last year. They are 12th in returning players. Their running game, while obviously not going to be the same as effective without Jaunty, they have 2 guys, especially a true freshman, Sire Gaines, who's coming in, going to maybe not get that level, maybe just be a level below. And you have a quarterback coming back in Maddox Madsen that is going to be the key to this offense this year. He looked good, but he kind of handed the ball off to Jaunty because you knew he was going to get it. This is for him. This is time for him to blossom into the quarterback that we think he's going to be. And similar to last year, they had that narrow loss to Oregon that everyone went, oh, okay. Even if they lost, they're for real because a group of 5 team was able to play them close. They go up against Notre Dame this year, and if a team like Boise State can at least keep it close, if not win that game, that is a team that you look at and you go, okay, Boise State's legit. They're a team that's going to be coming on down the line. And I think that's the game that you need to watch to see if Boise State's legit. Obviously, you're going to watch, but everyone else, that is the game to circle to watch. Is Boise State truly going to be in contention again?
As if you're a new viewer to the Straub Bros Sports Show, you know that you don't know that while I am a Notre Dame fan, diehard all the way through, I'm very, very pessimistic. Okay, so there's gonna be no prediction here right now about a week whatever game against Boise State. But if we were to take care of business like everyone thinks we should, a close loss on that resume to a team that potentially is in the college football playoffs would look good for Boise State. Last, but certainly not least, James Madison. Okay. Now, they have a very talented quarterback, Alonzo Barnett III. Okay. He is banged up. He got hurt last year against Marshall. The reason I like this team is a guy who is technically the 3rd string quarterback right now, and that is Matthew Sluka. If you're familiar with the show, you may remember it. I know Straub does. He was tearing it up at UNLV last year when UNLV was ranked before they had huge NIL transfer issues. Guys weren't being paid money, supposedly, and a mass exodus happened at UNLV, and guys quit the team. He was the quarterback who was running that show there. He is now at James Madison. That's a thing to keep an eye on for me. The reason they might be able to make this run is they've got week 4 against Liberty. Okay. And a lot of eyes will be on that week 2 game. If they were to run the table same for Boise State, when they play Louisville, an ACC heavyweight, you stay in that. Louisville's predicted to be pretty good this year. You win that game. You stay close in that game. You take care of your business and everywhere else. James Madison could easily be right where Boise State was last year.
Listen, I think both of those teams that you put are teams that maybe aren't your favorites to take that spot, because obviously you see kind of those top four are the ones that people are really looking at, but they are teams with tremendous upside, and I think that's exactly what you need to look for. Now, we've gotten through the group of 5, but there's a little bit of a gap between your group of 5 and your conferences. And I think the perfect place to sneak right into there is a team that just needs to win their games to get in. They don't care about conferences. They don't care about group of 5 entrances. They get it on their own merit. Ken, 14-2 last year, CFP finalist. Not great in the portal, but that's never how you are. You're always great in recruiting. You're predicted 10-2 this year. Ken, give me the Notre Dame outlook for this season.
First of all, who are those 2 predicted losses?
Don't shoot the messenger. This is
right.
just what it is.
All right. So first of all, I got my son's jersey. Yeah. All right. First of all, got my play like a champion today. Whole banner. We don't just got the sticker. All right. Let's get right to it. Great season. Playoff wins against Indiana, Georgia, and Penn State. Fought hard, but ultimately, obviously, lost in the national championship game to Ohio State. So the question is simple. Was it a fluke? Can Marcus Freeman and a loaded Irish roster return this great university to the top of the mountain it's so desperate to be back at? Yes, simply we can, but it's going to be very tough. Truthfully, this team is built for 26. We're a year ahead of schedule here in terms of how I feel about this team. It comes down to 2 names. One you might be familiar with. One I don't think anybody really is, unless you're really paying attention to coordinators in college football. The first, C.J. Carr, the redshirt freshman who is going to be the starting quarterback for my Notre Dame Fighting Irish. If that name Carr sounds familiar to you, no, it is not Derek and it's not Derek Carr's brother. It is the grandson of longtime great Michigan head coach Lloyd Carr. Okay, yes, jumped ship and came on home to where he belongs. He's ready, I believe, to take the helm, but the problem is there is no room for error. Week 1, Miami. Week 2, Texas A&M. So there's no easing. It is right away. He has to be able to move the ball down the field so that Jeremiah Love and Jadavian Price have the room to be the best backfield in the nation. And I truly believe that Jeremiah Love and Jadavian Price are the best backfield in the country. I'll fight you on that one. He has to. He's was the number 2 ranked pocket passer coming out of high school. He's a very talented kid. We're losing that running quarterback ability. Minchie, the backup, has that, but we're going with Carr because he can stretch the field and make some real accurate passes. He's got to be able to hang on to the ball, not turn it over, and allow those running backs to really set him up. The other name that is key for me is Chris Ash. He is the man who is going to be taking over the defensive coordinator position. We lost Al Golden to the pros. As big as the quarterback is here, the defense is big because it's been our strength. Special teams defense has been a strength. The offense had to really play perfect to get some points and have some big runs and stuff like that. It's not just the physicality and the talent. We had a pro-level defensive coordinator week in and week out who was out scheming teams. It wasn't just the players. So he's got big shoes to fill. He was head coach at Rutgers, defensive coordinator at multiple stops, including Texas. So that's going to be the 2 names that if those 2 names can come along, they're going to be okay. Last year, I looked at the schedule and was like, let's run this thing. This year, I look at the schedule and say, I just want to be in contention going down the stretch because I don't believe this team is going to go undefeated. We'll talk more about that stuff later. But as you said, 58th or 58th in the transfer portal. I found 2 different numbers. Regardless, we're not big in the portal. It's just not what we do. But 12th in the 12th. Strength of schedule wise, they got us at 44th. I think that's a bit harsh. Miami's good. A&M is good. Arkansas will be better this year. NC State is good. There's some other teams, but I think we're going to be okay. I don't think I'm going to have many I hope to not have many bad weeks on this show, but I think the Irish are going to be okay, and I think we're going to be in contention towards the end of the year for a playoff spot.
Hey,
and that's the longest I'll talk all show, I promise.
Listen, this team, for me, it's hard. It's not hard to root for them. You have an amazing head coach that gave his all to my university, and now is with you guys. You have a very well-balanced team. I love a great defense. That is the man that I think is going to be your make or break, because I think that's kind of what your make or break has been the past couple years. You look at your quarterbacks and they haven't been at that level in terms of getting you down the field consistently. Listen, Riley Leonard was a great quarterback for college. He wasn't that next level that you needed, and that's okay. Now with this guy, we've talked about this. You don't need to be a runner to succeed. You just need to know when to run. And if he can figure that out, and he can also stretch the ball down the field, that opens up so much more for your running back room, which is one of the best in the country. And I think as long as that defense stays to near the level it was last year, I think you have an amazing opportunity to do something special down in South Bend. So we will see. It's going to be a lot. It's going to be a lot of doubters, a lot of anxious games, but we will see what happens there. I am rooting for you guys all the way.
No more. I don't want to talk about my team anymore. It makes me want to throw up.
All right, fine. Let's get to the conferences.
Let's do it.
First, we will bring up a conference that really didn't do a terrible amount, but I think has a lot of potential, and that is the ACC. Last year, they combined for a out-of-conference record of 12-19. Two teams made the college football playoff, SMU and Clemson, and both got knocked out in the first round of the CFP. Ken, what's your outlook on the ACC right now?
I'm not going to talk a lot about the ACC overall as a conference too much right now, because I got some stuff on them later, but there are good teams in this conference. This is open your eyes a bit here during this one. I know it might be easy to gloss over this one because you want to get to the Big Ten, excuse me, or you want to get to the SEC. But lock in here, because we're going to teach you some stuff. You're going to learn some stuff. But I'm going to start with the blue blood. Okay, the true blue blood of this conference. Okay, the Clemson Tigers. I know I took you out of order. That's okay.
No, that's okay. And I think it's a good one to look at, because it's a team that had this amazing run in that section, kind of fell off a little bit, but is now back on the upswing, as you can see, predicted first in the ACC with a 10-2 record.
Yes. Now, as I said, the true blue blood of this conference, and the stats back it up. 14 years, the title has either gone to Clemson or the team that has beat them in the regular season. So the standard, okay? Even last year, when we all thought they were finally going to get matched, they clipped SMU in that title game, got themselves in the playoffs. The road through the ACC goes through Death Valley. Now, obviously, I'm going to pretty much throw that portal ranking out of it. If you know us by now, you know college football, and if you know Dabo Swinney, he doesn't touch the portal. I'm surprised they're as high as 82. They're just not
three players.
Right. They're just not a team that dives into the portal. However, this is the key stat for Clemson. They are returning 80% of their production. Okay. And that starts with the man who is ranked in the top 5 in college football playoffs, are college football's top 100 players, and that's quarterback Cade Klubnik. Okay, 3 returning wide receivers, one of the best offensive lines that they've had in a while, and Clemson really truly believes that they've got it back together, and they're really truly riding the ship. Okay, 25th. Their 2025 class was 26th overall, as you see there. They dropped to 4th in the ACC, though, behind Miami, Florida State, and Georgia Tech. So they are currently being out-recruited in their own conference for the first couple of times, too. They're usually at least within the top 2 or 3. I truly believe this is a team that's going to be right there, first or second in the ACC, looking at the college football playoffs with big eyes. But I am going to point this out. Okay. That team got a lot of luck last year to even be in contention to play SMU for the conference championship game. If they don't turn that luck into plays, into actual things that you can do, then they might possibly be in trouble. And you leave Lucky alone. There is not Lucky is pristine. You leave Lucky alone. He's just back there
No,
in the bin. He looks
I
dark.
think
You be
I think
quiet.
you're absolutely right. I think the turnovers were a big problem for this team. I think in crucial situations, but I think you're right. But I think it's really up to the maturity of this team because that's how a Dabo team is. He wants this team from start to finish, from when they enter college to when they exit college, because his mentality is they are going to get better in his system, and he doesn't want to have to bring new guys in. And so I think that's exactly what he's banking on. I think they're going to be helpful. It's just how much they're going to be able to jump.
And if you don't bring enough guts, then you got to transfer out because Dabo wants you to bring them guts. And I didn't know I needed to update the Notre Dame pillow every year.
Yes, they do have you have a new logo now. It's the same fighting Irish guy, but it looks a little different.
All right, updated Lucky on the way. Probably not maybe before week 1. I'm going to tap into that. So, yeah, that's the first blue blood. However, there are other teams, very talented teams in this conference, and one is the team that Clemson did beat in the ACC championship game, and that is the SMU Tigers. You don't need a new logo when it's the greatest in sports. Go ahead, Andrew.
Yes.
And yeah,
thank you.
And Andy would be proud of our Notre Dame logo.
No, but this is a team that you're really going to see the identity of this team, I think, in year 2. Because listen, year 1 in the ACC went as good as you can anticipate it. You went undefeated in conference play. You just you lost the Clemson in the trial, and you made the CFP in your first year. One of the best entrances to a conference that I've ever seen. However, the story of this offseason for this team was lots of turnover, but not a lot of replacements. You had a lot of guys leave in terms of returning production. You were in the late teens there, like the 60s or 70s. And you look at the portal and recruiting ranking, you were not on the top. So you are not getting those things that you got the previous years where you're not replacing these guys. And so you look at that, you look at a combined look at last year where they were really mistake heavy in some of those games. They got really lucky in some of those overtime wins. I think they had 5 overtime games last year, which was the most of any team, and they won, I'm pretty sure, all of them. So this is the key here. They can clean up those turnovers. They can play a clean game. You can probably get to near the top of the conference and give yourself a chance. But if you're going to play like you did last year and have kind of, not as good caliber players, you were going to fall about middle of that conference, and you're kind of going to be now falling further and further after such a great start. So we will see what happens. I love SMU from their days in the American. It was an amazing run last year to get them in there, but now we see what they're truly about now that they're not getting absolutely funneled with money by joining a new conference.
That's the hardest part about being a smaller up-and-coming team when you come into the conference is once you're in there and you've elevated because you had outstanding talent, once you settle in, don't settle in too far so you can try to remain at the top. You're hot, you're on fire, so I'm gonna let you keep it rolling with the other up-and-coming. I wouldn't say up-and-coming. Last year, I told you they were back. This year, they're coming. 2 years ago, I told you Texas was back. They're here now. So, Drew, talk about the team that is one of the favorites in the ACC, the U.
Absolutely. Listen, this Miami team, it is a team of astronomical expectations. And I think that's the only way that you can put it. This Miami team for years and years and years, and this year as well, always recruits well, always gets the best players. You can see they were top 15 in recruiting. They're top 5, top 3 in transfers. So they're getting guys, including Carson Beck, ex-Georgia quarterback. So you're going to get an immediate replacement from Cam Ward, who's been in college, who knows what he's doing. He has the weapons here. But now, more than ever, I think this is the highest bar that this Miami team has. And the bare minimum now, make the college football playoff. You have to. Because, listen, We have talked about this team for years. They have recruited well. They have got people in the portal, but there has been just the lack of being able to close out games, finish games. We talked 2 years ago that Georgia Tech game that they lost because they blew it and didn't just kneel the clock out. The game at the end at the end of last year where that knocked them out of contention. They could have made the ACC championship and pulled a Clemson and lost the game and couldn't, and didn't make it there.
Took the ball out of the number 1 pick's hand to try to kick a field goal and allowed his defense, who had given up 6 touchdowns, to give up another one. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
And so, no, we talk. You're right. We talk about this every year about this just team with so high expectations and so much talent, and it's just, it comes down to, yes, are they a great recruiting school? Yes, but after this year, if they don't meet those expectations, are we talking about a potential change at head coach?
Possibly. I mean, the leash at a place like Miami, now that they started to actually start to taste some of that success again. Yeah, no, he's got to, Manny Diaz has got to produce.
And so now you look at it and you're like, okay, you have all the things in place, and you know what? If we're talking about games that are going to prove that Miami, I know we keep coming back to you, the game that's going to prove, all right, Miami, you're going to come up against a tough defense. You're going to come up against a team that was in the national championship game last year. What do you got? It's game one. Game one, how are you going to leave your mark to start the college football season? I think that's the big key there.
Absolutely. I agree with you there. But like, we'll talk more later. I mean, a loss here and there, as we've seen for a lot of teams last year, wasn't the end all be all. So I would like to, lastly, before we kind of we jump conferences, talk about a team that's kind of very much in flux in the ACC, has a lot going on, and that is the Florida State Seminoles, 6th in the portal ranking. Just like kids like to go to Miami, kids like to go to Florida State, kids like to go to Florida, period. Okay, top 20 recruiting class. Mike Norvell is in job-saving mode right now. Okay.
Yeah.
He has to win, and he has to win a bunch of games to keep his job. 2 wins last year, that's not going to cut it in Tallahassee. It's not going to happen. Now, how does he do that? He has to roll the dice and actually hit again. He's gone back to the portal, as you see, with a top 6, or number 6 in the portal, a top 6 portal class. Okay, that worked for him twice. We saw what happened with Jordan Travis and everybody else. It obviously did not work last year. We will see what happens. Part of that crew is former Boston College quarterback Thomas Castellanos, running back Galvin Sawchuk of Oklahoma, Squirrel Wright of Tennessee, Deuce Robinson of USC. Great names, names right, but names you can be familiar with. So Florida State has brought in the talent. I think this team is going to float around 6 to 7 wins. I don't know if that's good enough, but we will see. Rough start because they do have Alabama at home, which is just playing Alabama's never good. The ACC schedule, they've got road games at Clemson and NC State, and then Florida. So we'll see. But a big year for Mike Norvell in Florida State. Results on the field are a must. If this team wins 6 or 7 games but looks really good and looks like it's on the doorstep, he might keep his job. But if they struggle again for those 6 and 7 wins, I think there will be a change in head coach there as well. I'm out on the rest of the ACC. Here's a bit of a teaser. I've got more on them later.
No, I think you're, and I think speaking on Florida State, I think that's especially the college landscape, you now have less time to turn things around. And so because with the transfer portal and all of that, you now need results faster because you can get those players in. And I think that's why this season is so crucial, is because you got one of the worst starts to your actual players in, by going 2 and 10.
Yeah. Real quick.
And so,
oh no, go ahead. Finish up.
And so I think this is massively key here to at least get to a bowl game or something to show. No, this is it was just a misstep and we lost too many guys. This is what I need to do.
And not just any. It can't just be the Duke Mayo Bowl. I think it needs to be a significant bowl for him to save his job. There are other teams in the ACC, Boston College, Syracuse, both looking to have good seasons this year. Like I said, I'll talk more about them later. Syracuse, sneaky, and there's more as well. We'll keep it rolling. I see your scroll, so I'm going to take over a bit of the driver's seat for you, but I'll let you read. Next conference, the Big 12.
Yes. So Big 12, it's an interesting conference because I think a lot of these teams are so even with each other. And we saw that last year. There was 16 different outcomes that could have happened in the final week about who was making the conference championship. And so I wouldn't say not a lot of changes in that. I just think everyone is kind of elevated now. I think everyone, most teams stayed exactly with the players they got. They didn't change much. And so I think you're going to see a lot of just of the same stuff, just elevated a little bit. As you can see, 7-12 out of conference record, a little bit better than the ACC. Arizona State was the one team that made the CFP, and they lost in the quarterfinals there. And so the first one we're going to talk about, Ken, it's one that is predicted dead last in the Big 12, but you wanted to talk about them. West Virginia, Ken, this whole graphic doesn't look good. Give me something to believe in for the Mountaineers.
First of all, if you didn't think that I was going to let those country roads take me home, then you don't watch this program, okay? We were going to talk about West Virginia no matter what. Get that out of here. I don't want to see any of that, okay? Because none of that matters, okay? Rich Rodriguez is back, okay? And so is Pat White. No, it is not 2007, okay? There are no time machines, okay? It is 2025. Here's my thing, okay? Rich Rodriguez was successful at West Virginia, and sometimes going back home is what you need. Pat White, he's got in as an assistant now. I really, really love that. Rich Rodriguez is going to turn this team around. 52 transfers into this West Virginia team. Okay. Yes, 30th in the portal, 46th in the recruiting is actually not bad for a team that was going through what it's going through. Okay. Jalen Knighton from SMU. Okay. Mixed in with Jaheim White gives them an explosive backfield. Okay. Rich Rod likes that. Okay. He likes to get moving. It's the quarterback. It's going to come down to some quarterback play. Okay. You've got A&M transfer Jalen Henderson, Charlotte transfer Max Brown, Returno Nico Marcoli. Whichever one of these quarterbacks can move the ball quickly and get out and move, they're going to be Rich Rod's guy. If you know what Rich Rod was successful at when he was at West Virginia, when he had Pat White and Steve Slayton, it was an unstoppable offense. Okay. I think these Mountaineers are going to be sneaky good this year. Okay. I think they're going to play major spoiler in the ACC. Okay. Because if there is one thing that is a theme, and I'm going to start it already, the tradition of college football, going to Morgantown to play a game in West Virginia is not easy. It's one of the best home field advantages in college football. I think they will be sneaky good this year. And also,
we got one person that agrees with you here.
Of course, Nate. Of course, Nate does. Oh no, Dylan. Dylan, what's up? Wide receiver. I thought it was Nate. I was looking at the wrong picture. Dylan, our wide receiver from the Rapids, yes. And Scotty Fox is the future of West Virginia football as well. But absolutely, I don't believe in dead last at all.
And Ken, we're going to keep it rolling here with you. I know you said Notre Dame with me the longest you talked about, but this might be second most, if not the most. Ken, there's a lot of turnover over in Boulder, but this Colorado team, they went in the portal again. They got a top 20 class. They are predicted 500 in the Big 12, but I know you don't believe that. I know all faith in Dion. Give me the Colorado preview here because I know you got some good stuff coming.
I absolutely do. And I guess technically that is my first hot take, that West Virginia will not finish last in the Big 12. We'll add that to the list. If you thought I was going to take a second and put the glasses on and get back into my – no. But we're back. Okay? Now, in 16 years, Colorado had one winning season. Dion had them 9-4 last year. Let's go. Okay. All right. 38th in the recruiting rankings, 19th in the portal. It's a bit back down to earth, honestly. It's what we talked about with SMU as well. This is also going to be the first set of real work for Dion as his sons are gone. Travis Hunter is gone. But Caden Salter transferred in from Liberty, a very talented quarterback, your first non-Sanders quarterback in the Dion era. He's got some wide receivers. He's got playmakers. Hakeem Williams, DeKalen Taylor leading that group. The problem is, and this has been a recurring theme here for Colorado, the third set of new offensive linemen in 3 years for Dion. So if they can't protect his son and they don't protect Salter, it's not going to matter. But I've got some okay-ish news. I think they're going to struggle a bit this year, okay, but not in a bad way. The Heisman stuff is gone. Shador is gone. We're back to football now. And I think they're going to be a 500 team that's going to start to actually take a legitimate football jump on the field this year. Tough game with Georgia Tech out of conference is the real only test outside of conference play for them. So I think they're going to be bowl eligible again, which is a success if you're Colorado. And like I said, the glitz and glamour are gone now. Now we're into just football mode. And I think there's going to be a step forward this year rather than a step backwards.
Yeah, and I think it's going to be a little easier for the guys to kind of play week to week when you don't have all that spotlight coming in. I think it'll be good. So I'm excited to see what comes out of Boulder this year because it's gonna be very intriguing regardless.
Absolutely.
All right, now we get to mine, and I have 3 because one is, but we're gonna do the first 2 first, and the first 2 are 2 teams that one struggled and one was okay, but I think both are going to take big jumps this year. First, Utah. And as you can see, first year in the Big 12, Utah, not great. 2-7, 5-7 overall. As you can see, they were 3-0 right before conference play. It was just the conference play and the style of play and the travel differences. I think that made it a big jump for them. But what they're bringing back and what they're bringing to this new season is going to be very, very telling. They are 12th in returning defense, and you know that Utah defense, always stout, always very good. That's going to be a key there. But on offense, quarterback transfer, Devon Dampier from New Mexico. He is a dual threat quarterback. In his last 4 games, he ran for 628 yards and 9 touchdowns. This kid is legit. He's a threat on both sides on running and throwing. They have a whole new receiving room, which I think is going to be very good for them as they kind of struggled offensively last year. And I think just the same as I said, Miami's big test to see kind of where they're going to be is at Notre Dame. The big test here, first game, UCLA. It's a very kind of even matchup there. Where are you going to play and where are you going to finish? It's very depending on how we see this Utah team play from game 1.
Keep going.
Yes. Now, second, and I'm gonna put this in there because I don't have any predictions in this one. I don't have Ken's hot takes. This is my favorite for the Big 12, Texas Tech. And as you can see, 8-5, 6-3, good but not great. But that portal ranking is exactly why I do it. Second in there, the transfer wide receiver Micah Hudson. He's a former 5-star in high school. He's an A&M transfer. This guy is going to blow people out of the water. He's going to dust people. He's going to be I think he's going to be absolutely fantastic. I think he's going to be, I can't remember the wide receiver award name, but he's going to be a finalist for that. He is going to be amazing. They boosted their offensive line. They boosted their defensive line tremendously. They had one of the best edge transfers commit to them. This team is legit. They kept a lot of their guys. They're 8th in returning with 4th in returning on defense. They are going to be a stout team that is going to take care of business week in, week out. And I love this Texas team. That 8-4 record is, I don't believe anything close to what they're going to do this year.
Man, I feel like Jay-Z, keep going. No, okay.
Blitnikoff, thank you. Thank you,
There you
James.
go. There you go. Take a breath. First of all, Sterling, shout out to you, brother. Much love always from the Straub Bros. And quarterback James Cooney checking in. Yeah, absolutely. Belinikoff there. Take a breath, pass it back to me. I got you for a second, and get ready to be a homer. Now, my boys are back. Okay. My Arizona Wildcats, we're back. Okay. Noah Fafita is back, which is the key. Okay. I bought into them 2 years ago. Okay. They had a strong end of the season. Everybody believed in it. Fell off last year. But Coach Brett Brennan is back in his second year, and I think we're going to be okay. The offense is talented. Fafita, Ismail Mahadi, Quincy Craig, Lou Wysong. Those are some names to remember when you're watching Arizona. Okay. But some newcomers, but it's the defense that was rehauled, and it really needed to. Top 60 offenses scored 40 a game on that defense last year. Okay, so new defensive coordinator Danny Gonzalez has all kinds of new guys in. Some guys from Texas, Stanford, some smaller schools, but they're ball hawks. These guys are talented guys. I'm not going to give you all of them. But I will go through their transfer stats if you really need me to. 52nd portal ranking. It's tough. 50th in recruiting. I mean, Arizona is not an easy place to recruit to. A top 60 schedule is tough as well. I think this team is going to sneak up on some people. Real quick, just some lightning bolts here before Drew takes over for the Bearcat home report. Kansas, Jalen Daniels is still there somehow. So Kansas is always dangerous as long as he's healthy. And BYU. Starting freshman quarterback Bear Bachmeier. He wears number 47, so it's going to be cool to see a quarterback wearing 47. That's a Cougar squad that is looking to really put it together and finish a complete season. You might hear them later, but yeah, BYU, Kansas, always there too. All right, and finally, last but certainly not least, the man who graduated from the school himself. Talk about your Cincinnati Bearcats.
Now listen, it doesn't look great, and I understand that. And listen, year one, you come in and you struggle hard in the Big 12. You first-year head coach, massive transfer exodus. It's hard. You come in year two, you start to look good, and then just the wheels fall off at the end. The turnovers didn't help. Dante Corleone, our stud defensive tackle, had blood clots, was out for a bunch of games. Very tough end of the season, going 0-5 and the 10 the season and making us not bowl eligible. But we're throwing all of that out the window because this is the Straub Bros Sports Show. I am a Cincinnati alumni, and I have a blinding faith to this team. But I have some facts to back up my blind faith. First, 15th in returning percentage, 11th on defense, a defense that really pulled it together at the back half of the season, including a returning Dante Corleone. He's healthy. He is your first team All-American on the defensive tackle. This dude is a monster. He plays up to how he played freshman and sophomore year and plays to his potential this year. He's a first-round draft pick, no doubt about it. Ooh. For going on the offensive side, Brandon Sorsby, a man that was asked by a million schools for a transfer. He stayed. He is considered by multiple websites one of the best quarterbacks in the Big 12. As long as he narrows in on his decision-making, is a little bit more precise in his decision-making, he is going to be absolutely phenomenal. A complete overhaul in the wide receiver position, which was needed. The wide receivers just did not get open. Many drops, just did not get it. Loss of Corey Kiner to the draft is a little bit of a hit, but we have a transfer from Wisconsin. Take that, Luke Fickell, with Tyree Walker. He is a monster. A bunch of new weapons on this offense. This team, a lot of new guys, especially on the offense, could struggle in the beginning, but I think as the defense holds it down until the offense gets it right, this offense comes around with Walker and Sorsby in this new receiver room, and I like this team to win at least 8, if not more games. I think that they're going to be in the conference championship conversation in the back half of the year. I think there's going to be a 1 or 2 losses coming in that's going to ruin it. But listen, you play Nebraska week 1. That could be a big kind of stepping stone for you. You only play one ranked team the entire rest of the year in Iowa State. You don't play Texas Tech. You don't play Kansas State. You have a very favorable schedule. This is a team that if they play to how they should in year 3, this is going to be a year where we're going to go, okay, next year we have high expectations, but this is your building block year, and I'm excited to watch this team again. For the first time in 3 years, I'm excited to watch this team again.
First of all, I so appreciate your longing and continued hatred for Luke Fickell. That is, need that to continue.
Never gonna go away.
And for the show's sake, like, it's sometimes funny when my teams lose. It's not good for the sake of my week in the show for your team to be that bad. So Bearcats, I need you to get it rolling. All right, let's keep it going. We're gonna start to hit overdrive here because it's starting to get big. Absolutely, the Big Ten. An out-of-conference record of 15-12. I don't really think I need to remind you, but if you didn't remember, Oregon, Penn State, Ohio State, and Indiana all made it to the college football playoffs, considered the arguably second best conference, the best finisher, obviously the team that won it all, the Ohio State Buckeyes.
Yeah, I mean, there's not a lot to say that you haven't said already, but I think it's one of those times now where you look at this Big Ten conference and you kind of go, you got 3 or 4 that can make the CFP, you got 3 or 4 that are going to make some Big 6 bowl games, you got 3 or 4 that are going to take it to each and every team every week. It is a very top to bottom, just stable conference. And we talked about this in the SEC way with the combination of these Pac-12 teams. Now this is legit. This is a legit conference that it's not just Ohio State and Michigan, and every once in a while, you have a Michigan State, or every once in a while you have a Wisconsin. This is a team now year to year, Michigan, Oregon, Ohio State, Penn State, when they can sometimes beat Ohio State at some point. We'll talk about it. Washington will have their years. This conference is good again. Or not good again, but great again. And I think that's what it's exciting to see.
Well, you're going to continue because we're going to start right at the very top with the defending national champions, the Ohio State University.
And listen, man, Ohio State. What other expectations do you need than being champions? And I think the greatest compliment I can give them is that this team is so good that they hang one loss every year as the reason why their coach is on the hot seat. And I respect the hell out of that. And you know what? That is your goal this year. It's not Texas. It's not Texas week 1. It's not whoever you're probably going to face in the CFP. It is Michigan at the end of the year. That is the only game that matters to this team. And I completely understand it as being an ex-Ohio State fan. That was the only game that mattered to me. And so to speak just kind of briefing on this Ohio State team, lots of turnover as to be expected. They're 98th in returning. But as you saw on this graphic here, they know how to recruit and they know how to get guys in the transfer portal. And speaking of transfer portal, their starting quarterback is going to be Julian Sayin. He was a 5-star recruit. He transferred from Alabama. This kid is going to be really good. And listen, we've seen Ohio State.
Is that the freshman?
That is the redshirt freshman, absolutely. Okay. And listen, we have seen Ohio State put guys who maybe aren't elite quarterbacks into that almost elite quarterback conversation just by the tools and the players around them. This kid is good regardless of that. He's not good because of his weapons. He's good because he is just a great quarterback. So seeing how this kid plays and how he can adapt to this offense, I think is going to be absolutely crucial here. But yeah, Ohio State, I think CFP is almost a given for this team. It's beat Michigan. It's beat Michigan or nothing.
Throw the ball to Jeremiah Smith. Hand the ball off to Jeremiah Smith. Throw wide receiver screens to Jeremiah Smith. Get the ball to him. 7 catches for 30 yards in that Michigan game. Can't happen again this year. That's what I'll say about that. We'll talk more about Ohio State when we start talking about the college football playoffs, because there's no doubt there. The other team, the other big dog in the conference, the Oregon Ducks, 5th in the portal, 5th in recruiting. Drew, none of that matters. Let me see if you've heard this before. Dan Lanning and the Oregon Ducks have nailed it in the portal, are loaded in offense, and are ready to go. Yep, heard that before.
Every year.
Yep. The offense is going to be led by sophomore Dante Moore and a worldly talented receiving core. The defense is stacked actually this year. They've got one of the top tier linebacking cores, a group of DBs. The defensive line is a bit weaker, but still, this team is loaded in talent. Schedule wise, it's not as actually bad as last year was. I mean, Oklahoma State, Northwestern, Oregon State before week 4's big matchup. They do travel to Happy Valley to take on Penn State. That leads to really the toughest part, whereas then 2 weeks later, they've got Indiana, Iowa on the road. Then I think the tougher games come later on. Pac-12 rivals come back home. They've got USC at home, and then they do have Washington on the road to close. Those games might not sound, if you're just a Big Ten person, as big, but those are traditional rivals. Those games are going to meet a lot at the end of the year. However, I don't expect this Oregon team to lose many games. I expect them to continue to roll. I mean, I don't think they'll be as dominant as they've been, but we'll see. Why doubt them at this point? I have no reason to doubt Dan Lanning right now. So
no, I mean, in the regular season, I don't doubt Dan Lanning whatsoever. It's just when you get to the games that really truly matter is when you start to see just uninspired games that just you don't see the flashes that you saw in the regular season. And I think that's the next step for this team. It's same with Miami. You have the talent, and even better than Miami, you have the play in the regular season. You just gotta finish strong, and I think that's the big key for Dan Lanning and that Oregon Ducks there.
Speaking of that week 4 game in Happy Valley, the Penn State Nittany Lions.
And Ken, I'm gonna say right now, that week 4 game means nothing. It means absolutely nothing. You know why? Because when you were 13-3 and you were 8-1 in the Big Ten, and your recruiting ranking is 15th, and I know the portal is not great, but it's still not terrible. And you know what? That predicted finish is 10-2. You know, one of those losses is almost guaranteed to be put on there. Ohio State. That is, and I've said this for 2 years now, doing this podcast with you. Penn State, if you want me to take you seriously as a program, statement win Ohio State. Because listen, Drew Allar, considered one of the best quarterbacks, if not the best quarterback in the country. Nick Singleton, a top 10 running back in the country. Those are your knowns. You just bolstered your defense that was already absolutely fantastic last year. The only question is the wide receiver room, but they're going to get open. They always get 1 or 2 receivers that are very good. You need to beat Ohio State. That is the one thing you need to do. And I think that's the one thing that I can rest my hat on as I put the Big Ten as a whole conference, except for Ohio State and sometimes Michigan. It's a bunch of teams that do great in the regular season, but can't beat the Blue Bloods, no matter how hard they try.
First of all, hi Chandler. What's going on,
Chandler?
My guy? Chandler, man, love you. I feel bad for Penn State fans when that thing popped up and it was you who was going to talk, knowing they were going to just get slaughtered. Yeah, I mean, it's true. Unfortunately, it's true. Beat Ohio State. Speaking of another blue blood, speaking of another team trying to kind of climb back to the mountain that they were very, very not so long ago atop of, that is the Michigan Wolverines. That 8-5 last year, predicted 4th in the Big Ten, 31 in the portal.
5-4. I don't know what happened there.
That's okay. But 6 overall in recruiting. Michigan always recruits high. Now, listen, I don't care about it anymore. And you all know what I'm talking about when I talk about Michigan. I don't care. It's over. If you're not over it, I don't care. The wins aren't vacated. The championship is still there. That is that. If you thought that they were going to come down on them, you haven't watched college football for the past 5+ years now. maybe longer.
USC was the last time that I
Yeah,
can
the,
recall them
the
actually doing something.
NCAA doesn't have the power to come down like that anymore. It just doesn't exist. Okay. And from what I've heard from people who know, people who are as tuned into college people and the people in the know as I would give anything to be. All of these teams do it. Michigan got caught. They've made a statement of Michigan the best way they can, and now they have altered the rules to pretty much basically allow it in a sense. Allow some of the things that was Michigan doing. But that's it. I'm done. That's the last time we're going to talk about it, and that's in the preview. We're moving on. Head coach Sherrod Moore is trying to move on now, but how? Huge losses at quarterback and running back, and on the defense last year that they did not replace. Coaching changes, obviously the sanctions and investigation, and they still, throughout all that, had two of the best wins in all of college football last year, 13-10 and 19-13 wins over Ohio State and Alabama. Okay. 5-star freshman Bryce Underwood, likely the quarterback there. Fresno State transfer Mikey Keene is in there too. They're not going to announce a quarterback until week 1, so we'll see what happens there. If those guys get this Michigan offense going, they're going to be contenders based on what's on the schedule. Because it's kind of weak. It's respectable, but it's kind of weak. Oklahoma at the beginning, Nebraska, depending on how you feel. And then Big Ten wise, it's USC, Michigan State, and Maryland before the showdown to make it 5 in a row commences. So if Michigan just has a competent quarterback, they're going to be walking into that Ohio State game probably with two teams battling for the Big Ten championship, battling for that playoff, that first round bye.
I think you're absolutely right. I think Michigan is the team that, similarly to you, is always going to have a great defense. It's always going to be locked down. How's your offense? If your offense is there, you can go as far as you can go, but your offense needs to be there. They struggled mightily offensively last year, and they still had great wins because of that defense. If they get a good offense, they get a good quarterback that's going to push them down the field, watch out for this Michigan team.
Absolutely. We're unbiased here in the college football preview. Listen, this is just how it goes. I know not a lot of people like Michigan, but that doesn't matter. Real quick, before we obviously get to the SEC, Illinois, the Fighting Illini, yes, punching heavy this year, okay? They lead the Big Ten in returning production. Luke Altmaier has experience now all around for this team. Schedule-wise, Duke, Indiana, USC. So, and the rest of the Big Ten games need to be handled if this team is going to make real noise with Ohio State coming to their house midway through the season. This is almost similar to what we talked about with some of those non-power 5 teams. Take care of business with the rest of the Big Ten, your Indianas, your USCs, like I said, Duke out of conference. Then be competitive and competent in that Big Ten game against Ohio State, and you could be knocking on the door.
Absolutely.
All right, last but certainly not least, the powerhouse of college football, the SEC, drew dominant out of the conference, 20-11. 3 teams in the college football playoff: Texas, Tennessee, and Georgia. Your best finalists, though, semifinal Texas, drew. The SEC stomped their way through the regular season, but kind of got tripped up in the college football playoffs. Tennessee dismantled by Ohio State. Texas taken out by Ohio State as well. Georgia absolutely dominated from whistle to whistle on every facet of football by the Notre Dame Fighting.
Okay. Let's calm it down there.
Okay. But either way, a dominant conference in everyone's eyes, however, tripped up a little bit in the college football playoffs. Your quick thoughts on the SEC as we'll get to your first team.
Yeah, I think the SEC, has to learn to play a little bit more dirty, has to play in the trenches a little bit more. I think they got a little bit too Alabama-y and Georgia-y, where they're throwing the ball down the field. They got these big receivers that can go up and get it, and they're spreading the field out. They got to get back to what the SEC was, I think, and that's just getting dirty in the trenches, getting those big Southern boys to push the defensive lineman away. I think that Ohio State game for both Tennessee and Texas and Notre Dame for you was a real kind of wake up for that. And I think that's going to be a big key there is you got to start dominating that line of scrimmage like you used to. And that's how you get those championships.
Absolutely. I lied. I'm going to start. and we're going to start a little different. Ole Miss, 10-3, fourth in the portal rankings. Lane Kiffin, no surprise there that they're top 20, obviously 16 in recruiting. No surprise that they're high in the portal. People love to come into Ole Miss and play for Lane Kiffin. But Lane is searching for the big wins and finishing the season. He's a national championship coach in most decades, to be honest, but he's just getting tripped up at the end. A lot of turnover on this team this year. We know for sure, without a doubt, Lane's going to have the offense humming, points on anyone who steps foot in the stadium, teams, bands, mascots, grounds crew, strap in, you're going to get scored on. But Austin Simmons is the name who's going to be behind center. Look out for that. The problem potentially here is LSU, Georgia, South Carolina, and Florida. There's no such thing as there's no such thing as an easy schedule in the SEC. Can Lane Kiffin keep these guys focused down the stretch? I mean, this is as simple on the SEC side as the Penn State was for Drew on there. We know this team's going to be talented. 7th in the SEC. We'll see about that. I don't believe a Lane Kiffin team isn't going to come out and be talented until I see it at this point, because it's kind of just become a staple. That doesn't mean he won't trip up and they won't lose a couple games, but that low in the SEC, I don't know about that. But at the end of the day, get to the playoffs.
No, I think Dan Lanning and Lane Kiffin have a lot in common where they're gonna beat the teams below them. That's almost a given. They're gonna win by 50 against bad teams. They're teams that are gonna step below. They're gonna win by double digits. They are focused in that, right? Just both of them, and especially Lane Kiffin, all the talking that he does, you need to take that next step, beat your Alabamas, beat your Tennessees, and for this next team, beat your Georgias. And if we're talking Georgia, man, if we're talking about a team that just consistently just cycles through and consistently still produces amazing seasons, Georgia, they are 100th out of 136 in returning players, but they are 2nd in recruiting and 22nd in the portal. But now it's a little different because it's something that we haven't seen from Georgia in a little bit, and that is an inexperienced quarterback, Gunnar Stockton. That's the big question mark here. What are we going to get? And I'm going to give you kind of a little heads up here. It doesn't need to be a lot because you know this Georgia defense is going to be good. And USC wide receiver transfer, Zachariah Branch. I know we talked about Hudson for the Blitnikoff. Here is another finalist here. He's a name that you're going to remember late this season. He's a name that you're going to remember come April in the NFL draft because this kid is an absolute stud. However, big question, like we said on Georgia, this team reloads, but it seems year to year that reload kind of gets a little less in the chamber, a little less in the chamber, a little less in the chamber. How is this Georgia team going to be this year now that, again, they've had to reload basically the entire offense, defense, special teams, bench warmers, coaching staff, you name it, they had to replace. So that's the big question, I think, for the Georgia Bulldogs this year. How are you going to do with another retooling year?
I mean, Kirby Smart is as good of a coach as there is, but this is why Nick Saban was the greatest, is he was able to just not just reload, but reload and win at the higher level. So, all right. The big dog, the new big dog in the conference, the Texas Longhorns. Yeah, number 1 in recruiting ranking. No surprise there. 23rd in the portal, top 25 portal. No surprise there. 13-3 last year. Made it to the quarterfinals. Predicted to finish first in the SEC. Drew, I mean, let's just talk about it. The Arch Manning train is about to leave the station. If it hasn't already for this season, it's time to get on board or not. He takes over a very talented Texas team, hoping to build on last year's success when 2 years ago, I told you they were back. I was very correct on that one. Quintravion Wisner, CJ Baxter are back in the backfield. DeAndre Moore Jr., Ryan Wingo are back on the outside. Talent all around. This is all about Arch playing in the system. Big shout out to Dustin Dye, our big talented lineman for the Falls Rapids. Make sure you're voting for Dustin too in our awards. Obviously Buckeyes. But Arch needs to play in the system, use his playmakers, and then use his legs to make the plays to get out of trouble and be explosive and add that extra wrinkle to this offense. We talked about the recruiting classes. The schedule is going to tell us right off the bat, baby. OSU week 1, but then basically 3 weeks off before Florida,
As is the
Oklahoma.
SEC.
Right, before Florida, Oklahoma lightens up again, before Georgia, Arkansas, A&M to finish the season. So, I mean, I was wrong in my prediction last year of thinking that Texas may take a dip. They were right there. This is a tough schedule, but they have more talent than any other team to be able to overcome that tough schedule. So, why would I doubt that they'll be somewhere near the SEC championship or in the college football playoffs?
No, I think you're absolutely right there. And I think the biggest thing that I've noticed is it seems like a foregone conclusion that Arch Manning is going to be this massive star and is going to sling the ball. And obviously we've seen some flashes and we've seen pretty good, but I haven't seen him play in big games yet. I haven't seen him I need a bigger sample size. And so while I do think he's going to be very good, I do think that he is going to play very well. It's yet to be seen. And I think that's a big question mark that I think some people are overlooking. I think needs to be kind of looked into a little bit more, especially coming into week 1 with such a massive game on the line. But I also think don't take game 1 as what's going to happen the rest of the year. If he struggles, he throws a pick or two, it's a great Ohio State team. Let him grow into the season. So I think a lot of question marks that aren't going to be answered right away, but still need to be looked at over a wide span.
All right, Drew, the tried and true blue blood of the SEC, the Alabama Crimson Tide.
Yeah, listen, this team looked a little different last year. You had an Alabama team that let a lead slip. You had an Alabama team that started off kind of slow in the SEC. And it's an Alabama team that did not make the college football playoff. And I think now, I think we've talked about hot seats, that this is the hottest of them all because you don't win, you don't make the college football playoff year 2, you're gone. You have too much to get up for from Nick Saban. However, I think this is a team that, while again inexperienced and a lot of turnover, has the potential to be very, very good. Bringing back a pretty good defense, pretty solid defense, they're recruiting in the portal. And Ty Simpson, quarterback for Alabama, coming in. He has a lot of expectations. And I think it's one of those times where we're going to see, I think, a Jalen Milroe kind of thing where he struggles in the beginning, but really turns it on in the back half. And I think the key here is that defense needs to stay stout throughout the first kind of rough couple games, making sure he stays with it, he gets kind of going, and that this team will be okay. But I think that the biggest thing here is how is Ty Simpson going to kind of grow into this role? Because it's tough. You don't have a Nick Saban that's going to, play to your strengths perfectly from week 1. It's going to take some adjusting week to week, and they'll finally get it right. But how is this defense going to hold up first, second game in the conference? And how are they going to, adjust to that? And if they can win those 2 games, even if it's not pretty, if they can win those games, they'll be okay come November, December.
I love it. No, the leash is very, very short there in Tuscaloosa.
Yeah.
I think it's a talented team. The thing about Alabama and obviously majority of these SEC teams, they can struggle, and there's still plenty of games on the schedule that if they do win, they're going to be there.
Also, notification came up during the podcast, not this year, but next year, the SEC will officially move to a 9-game conference. They're going to join the rest of us. Thank you. I didn't want to see a week 10 game against some FCS team on my schedule. So this is the last year I will have to make fun of them for playing a cupcake game in the middle of conference play. I appreciate it. Thank you.
They did it for you, Drew. And my quick thoughts, real quick, on the top of my head, Texas. All right,
next week we'll dive into it.
Absolutely. Last, real quick, lightning round there for the SEC. The Florida Gators. When will you be good again? Unlucky. They were 134th out of 136 in lineup stability.
Yeah.
Just no luck. But the ifs. If DJ Lagway, where are you, Sean? And everyone else has said he is what he's gonna be and all of this.
Automatically a hater.
Oh, I'm not a hater. I'll talk about it. You're gonna see why. Stick around, Dustin. You're gonna see why. If DJ Lagway can be what everybody says he's supposed to be, I mean, this team could be a sleeper to make the SEC championship game. Spoiler, they would have been my bold prediction team this year if it wasn't for this schedule. And I mean, no schedule is easy in the SEC, but bro, this is brutal. LSU, Miami, Texas, Texas A&M, Georgia, Ole Miss, Tennessee. I mean, if they get through that, they're playing in the SEC championship game. And they're making it. I just, even if DJ Lagway is who he's supposed to be, I can't see it holding up, and I can't see it happen. But still, Florida teams to potentially start to keep an eye on, maybe more so in Big Bros, Big Bets.
No, I think the way a Florida team is good is when they have a good quarterback. We saw this with Tebow, obviously. We saw this with Anthony Richardson. That is how this Florida team makes it good, is they have a good quarterback. That's how it is.
All right, Drew. It is time to debut, and I guess the best way for me to put this is whatever it is you're going to do.
Yes, and so what I've decided is I have a theme every year on something that we keep track of. Last year was Ashton Jaunty. Watch. This year, I've expanded. Ken, this is something that we have talked about the entirety of this podcast. This is what we mentioned over and over again, and this is what I've mentioned draft after draft talk after draft talk next year. It is not this year's draft class. It is next year's draft class because, Ken, it is the year of the quarterback in the NCAA. And just to give some things here, the quarterbacks drafted in the first 3 rounds this past draft was 5. We are projected 10 next year. And as you can see, there's 5 in the first round alone. There's Cade Klubnik in Clemson. There's Drew Allar at Penn State. You were going to mention them, but you switched to Ole Miss. There's Lenora Sellers at South Carolina. Garrett Nussmeier at LSU.
Love you, Gamecocks.
Obviously, Arch Manning at Texas still up in the air, but he still is a projected first round if he enters. And then obviously we have everyone else: Sam Levitt, Nico Amalavia, Carson Beck, John Mateer, one of the best transfer quarterbacks of this class, Miller Moss, Noah Fafita, Diego Pavia. I can talk the Nebraska quarterback, the Illinois quarterback, my quarterback at Cincinnati. This draft class, I talked about it over and over again, is one of the most stacked draft classes since Baker Mayfield went number 1 in 2019. Woo. This is an absolute stud class, and every week I'm going to give you updates on the best performances because I believe these quarterbacks are absolutely must-watch TV week in and week out, and I can't wait to track these.
Well done, bro. I love this. I love quarterbacks. I love all these guys on this list. Maybe minus Garrett Nussmeier. Miller Moss transferred into Louisville from USC. I've already talked about how much I love Noah Fafita at Arizona. Diego Pavia at Vandy. We know that's a guy I love too. Excuse me. You don't have CJ Carr on this list yet, but that's okay. We've got time for that.
Yet to be seen.
I love this, bro. Flat out. I love this. Mel Kiper, who? Todd McShay, who? Andrew Straub, your college football quarterback draft analysis. I love this.
And just to kind of put it in perspective as well, Cam Ward, the consensus number 1 overall pick. No one was going to take that spot. It was almost guaranteed from, the end of the year. In terms of rating, quarterback draft rating would have been 3rd behind Cade Klubnik and Drew Allar. That's how stacked this class is.
Woo. That is well done, sir. I got a lot to live up to now.
I am sure you're going to far and away exceed my expectations here because you always do with your hot takes. I am More than excited.
All right. Speaking of them, finally, we've reached the end of the program. It is time for Ken's college football hot takes. Now, if you need a reminder, that's what I'm here for. Year 1, I gave you Michigan winning the national championship. I told you Alabama would squeak in with 1 loss. Year 2, I told you about Texas being back. Oh, I'm sorry. That first year I told you Texas was back. Last year I told you the U was back. Okay. Last year I told you that a Pac-12, or 2 years ago I told you a Pac-12 team would make it into the finals. Oregon did it. Last year I told you the Pac-12 would be okay in the Big Ten, and they were. Last year I told you Texas would struggle. I got that wrong. But also last year I told you that Notre Dame would make the college football playoffs. Now, I have a theme this year. And your theme is Halloween has come early.
Interesting.
Absolutely. So, first things first, I alluded to it very early on, and that was me not talking much about the ACC. All we have heard all year and all offseason, Big Ten, SEC, Big Ten, SEC, Big Ten, SEC. The ACC is coming for you.
Oh, I love it. Oh, that's an amazing graphic. I love it so much.
Attack of the conference, okay? The SEC, the Big Ten, the ACC is coming for you, okay? They will be in the conversation as not just clearly the third best conference, but maybe starting potentially to close the gap on the other two. Why? Clemson and Miami, legit contenders, okay? SMU, Louisville, NC State, a team we didn't talk about, 2 teams we didn't talk about much, primed for contender status. What Jeff Brom is doing at Louisville is outstanding, retooling every year, killing it in the portal. That Wolfpack team was a year early last year, and they are coming this year, okay? Boston College and Syracuse, they were on the graphic, okay? I think they are ready to make the leap into the, hey, we are here now. We are legit in this conference. Okay. I love what BC's building under Bill O'Brien. Syracuse, I think, can be legit. Notre Dame quarterback transfer Steve Angelisi's there. I really like that. Virginia Tech. Did you remember who Kyron Drones is? Well, you better. All right, because they're back. Also, not even last, Bill Belichick in North Carolina. I'm not betting against the greatest NFL coach of all time until he proves to me that it's not going to work. Oh, and by the way, Georgia Tech, Haynes King and Jamal Haynes are still there. That offense, that's also the 3rd best recruiting class in the ACC. That is a stacked team. The ACC is coming for y'all.
Listen, and I one, love the graphic again. Wanted to just appreciate how amazing this graphic is. 2, I completely agree with this because I almost spoiled it for myself when we were talking. Because I was going over ACC teams. I meant, man, I could put 6, 7, 8 teams up here that we could talk about because every team has the potential to go, oh, wow, they took a step this year. They look good. Every single team. Florida State could bounce back. UNC could bounce back because of this. Miami, Clemson, SMU, Boston College, Louisville. Hell, even Pitt could potentially have a decent season. All of these teams look so fantastic and so intriguing that, listen, even if some of them don't live up to expectations, some of them will, and it'll make this conference look so good. And a good ACC is absolutely needed because the teams on there are legendary in all aspects, and that's what you need. You need great teams, and that's exactly what you're going to get here.
I love that you love the graphic, okay?
So good. Good.
So, I gave you 2 years ago Texas. Last year I gave you Miami. I'm going to keep the thing going this year, and that's a team that's back. And that's a team that was formerly good and is ready to be back.
Okay. Ooh.
Beware of the children of the corn.
Oh, okay. Talk to me about it.
I think the Dylan Raiola hype is legit. I think it's justified. I think the kid is good. I like everything that is going on at Nebraska right now. I think they stumbled last year. I think they had the season that Florida is going to have this year. And I really, really, truly think that this Nebraska team is primed for something really, really good this year. Not necessarily winning a national championship. Remember, when I said the U was back, when I said Texas was back, it didn't say that they were going to stomp the competition away and that they were going to run college football. What I said was you were going to start saying their names and their name in regular conversations. And I think, yeah, I think Nebraska is here.
I think it's a more steaming take than the last one, but I still like it. The big thing is you gotta get through the blue bloods and the big dogs in this conference. And if they can do it, they're right there. And I think, like you said, they're not gonna run through, they're not gonna absolutely steamroll, but if this team can get to 9-10 wins and be in contention for a conference championship, I think that is more than enough to say that they are back. And because I think that this Nebraska team has the tools. They just need to just take that step that a Penn State really hasn't taken, that a Michigan stumbles with from time to time, that a Wisconsin can never do. I would love to see it.
I like Matt Rule. I think he's a I think he's a good college quarterback or a college coach. I really like what he's doing there. The schedule, I mean, I love you. I think they're going to start off kind of with an easy run up. They start with you, then Cincinnati, then they have Akron, then they have UConn, and then they finally get to Michigan, Michigan State, Maryland, that Big 12 or that Big 10 schedule. They do have USC and UCLA on the schedule. But truthfully, the toughest games on this schedule, Michigan, Penn State, Iowa. You're telling me if they were to win and run out everything but that, you wouldn't tell me that Nebraska is back or somewhere close to that. So I believe that this is the year Nebraska finally starts to return itself to national prominence.
I love it. I love it. I love it. I love it. Because listen, that's what we're here for. We're not here for takes going, oh, Georgia's going to win the SEC or Ohio State's going to, win 2 games in the cup. No, I want hot takes. I want takes that you believe in and you go, no, I don't care what everyone else says. This is going to happen. And that's exactly what that is. I'm ready for more.
All right, here we go. Drew, only 3 of the top 13 teams in the country are returning quarterbacks. Okay. Some are transfers, but a lot are young guns. Drew, do you know the last freshman quarterback to win a national championship?
Oh, man.
That's okay.
Gotta be.
Yes. Trevor Lawrence.
I was right. All right.
Trevor Lawrence. So, freshman, get out. BYU, Notre Dame, Ohio State, potentially Michigan. You will have to do something that no team has done in this new era of college football, and that is take a freshman quarterback and win a national championship. While I think all of these teams are very talented, BYU is a legit contender if Bear is a good quarterback. Michigan, very talented. Notre Dame and Ohio State, we've already covered them. We've already pretty much penciled them in to the college football playoffs. But there's a reason we haven't talked about national championships, and that's because of those freshman quarterbacks. So I am going to make the bold prediction. I don't believe any team that has a freshman quarterback will win the national championship this year.
I think that it's a hot take, but it's also a good take. And I think it combines well with my segment because you looked at that list of draft eligible quarterbacks on top teams, and it's really hard to look. You look at this: Clemson, Penn State, LSU, Texas, all teams that have legit CFP national championship hopes, and they're going to go up against freshman quarterbacks. And I think that's a very, very informed take there. I think it's a hot take because I think you have teams like Ohio State and Notre Dame who are saying, and Michigan that are going, listen, we have the talent.
I said it when I did the Notre Dame preview. I feel like we're going to slip up a couple weeks.
But when it gets down to those critical games, it was something special with Trevor Lawrence, and you saw that from the beginning.
And we knew about it a year before. He was so hyped. We knew it was coming.
Exactly. So I think you're right in that aspect. I agree with you on that take. I think I'm 2 for 3 on the train. I'm still on the fence about Nebraska, but I'm 2 for 3 on the train right now. But I've been loving all of them.
All right. Last, certainly not least.
Yes.
This one is less about a specific team, but more about the college football landscape as a whole.
Okay.
The blue blood era is gone.
Woo!
The rebirth of parity in college football, or you could say the birth of parity in college football. The way that the landscape is now opened up with all of these teams now having NIL experience under their belt, with the NIL deals basically kind of making it even for these teams. Every one of these colleges has money. I think gone are the years of undefeated seasons, powerhouse teams running the sport for years on end. I think we are very, very soon going to have a 3 to 4 loss national champion. And I don't want to hear any of you complaining when that happens, because that is what you all have asked for. So I think the dominance of college football, I think it's gone. Now, that doesn't mean these teams won't be good every year, but I don't believe we're going to have the recent dynasties with teams like Alabama, with teams like Clemson. I think those days are gone, and I think the national championships are going to start to be spread out.
And I think this is 100% your hottest take, because for years, this has been predicted for years. The Blue Bloods are out this year. This year is the year. We got parity. They've all been wrong, because we've had our Ohio State dynasties. We've had our Alabama dynasty. We've had our Clemsons. We've had our Georgias, all these Blue Bloods. And we get a year every once in a while where, you know, something flares up and you go, yes, that's what we want. We want more parity. For it to actually happen would take a lot of things to go the other way that they've gone the same way for years and years. So I like it. That's going to be my toughest pull here.
That's also one that will not be able to be determined until we're in like year 4 or 5 of the Straub Bros Sports Show.
Absolutely, but I still love it.
If a team as talented as like LSU wins the national championship, you could say, well, LSU has had multiple national championships recently. Yeah, I understand that. But then let's go next year and tell me who wins. And then the year after that. I think when we start to look down the line, 5, 6, 7 years down the line, I think we're going to see that the landscape of college football has kind of opened up, especially with this expansion that is coming of the playoffs. What's already been expanded, the Big Ten is legit going to lobby a 24 potential to 28 team playoff, with the selling point
don't get me started.
With the selling point being no one gets left out. So as I see the forecast of college football, I'm jumping on this train this year and saying this is where it will start to begin.
If that happens, I will absolutely agree with you. We obviously, you said it. We'll wait to see how it rolls into. But I love it. I have loved every single one. I think I have more storylines to look at when I'm watching games now. Because I'm invested in ACC games now. I'm watching UNC versus Syracuse. Going, all right, how is this going to work out? How is this feeding into Ken's predictions here? I'm watching all Nebraska games now, apparently. So let's go. What a preview. I am so excited. We got 2 big games this week. We got Iowa State, Kansas State at noon on Saturday.
In Ireland, baby.
In Ireland. And then at night, Stanford at Hawaii at 7:30. Oh, it's going to be absolutely fantastic. Pac-10 at night again.
Pac-12 at almost dark. Let's go, baby.
And so let's go. I'm so excited. This has absolutely fed all of my need to talk about college football. Let's get it going. We got 2 days left.
I love it. This was amazing. I had so much fun doing this. I'm going to wrap this thing up so I can get my butt over to baseball practice. I'm about to be 15 minutes late, but I'm only an assistant coach, but that's okay. Drew, we absolutely knocked this out of the park. I'll say it on the episode instead of post-show. I absolutely had the best time. This is the most fun we've had doing one of these previews, and I can't wait to tap in as we go along. keep an eye on my hot takes, keep an eye on your quarterback list, and just run down the college football landscape as it unfolds for us. Wrap it up. Final words from you.
Hey, listen, thanks for everyone for commenting, watching, liking. We appreciate all the support here. And listen, if you love this energy and you love how we get about college football, it's not going anywhere for at least 13 weeks. So let's get strapped in.
Absolutely. Tap in with us weekly on the Straub Bros Sports Show YouTube page and Facebook page. You can follow us there for all episodes, hot takes. Share, do us a favor, give us a like, give us a comment, give us a subscribe, give us a share. It only takes a couple seconds. We appreciate that, Pops. As always, Drew, I love this. It was great doing it. And we will be back next week. We'll start tapping into some NFL. Take your time, enjoy the first couple nice and easy games on the schedule. Ease the misses in this week. Don't overdo it, because the 30th is going to be a mess. Right. Love you, Us. Great show as always. And that'll do it for us here on the Straub Bros Sports Show. And as always, love yours.